What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to CLAO's Network. All of the cards from the next Japanese sets, Silver Lance and Jet Black Spirit, have been revealed, and the translations are on pokebeach.com. These sets come out next Friday, April 23rd in Japan, and they will make up most of our Chilling Reign sets here in North America and most of the rest of the world. So we're going to take a look at all of these cards, most of them newly translated, some of them we have seen before, but the bulk of them, it will be the first time I'm looking at them on this channel, and some of them the first time I'm looking at them in general. So should be fun. I'm excited to dig into these cards. I know some of them are really good and pretty exciting. So without further ado, shout out to PotownStore.com, best place to get ptcgo codes. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for daily Pokemon TCG content, and let's look at these cards. So here's just a quick overview of all of the cards. We've got a lot of new V and VMAX cards, including Sandaconda, Volcanion, Celebi, and Metagross, and Blissey. So a good bit of V and VMAX cards that we have not already seen previous to this reveal. I'll try to go through the bulk pretty quick, but I'll at least take a look at most cards. So we have Snover and Abomasnow. They are single strike Pokemon. And Abomasnow has the ability Toughness Up. As long as this Pokemon is in play, the maximum HP of your single strike Pokemon in play is increased by 50. Probably not that great of a card right off the bat. If there are tanking single strike decks, maybe even single strike Urshifu VMAX could get some use out of this card. Probably not. A stage 1 setup for 50 extra HP just does not sound like that much value in today's game. It's a nice little ability to keep around and keep in mind as single strike cards are released, but I don't think it's anything crazy right out of the gates. We've got Dwebble and Crustle, nothing special. We've got a Deerling, Sawsbuck, Bounsweet, Steenie, and Serena. So Serena is a stage 2 grass Pokemon with the attack Trod On for colorless, and it does 50 more damage for each energy and the retreat cost of your opponent's active Pokemon. So let's say they have a retreat cost of 3, which, you know, there's a fair amount of VMAX Pokemon that have that. It would do 160 for 2 energy. I mean, 160 is a fine amount of damage to do if it's coming from a V Pokemon or a VMAX Pokemon that can also survive a hit. But when it's on a stage 2 Pokemon that isn't going to survive a hit of 160 itself, not very good. We've got Zarude, Clan Summoning Song for a grass energy. Search your deck for a grass Pokemon. If you go second on your first turn, you may search for up to 3 grass Pokemon instead. So it's similar to Volcanion and Cresselia with that. If you go second on your first turn, you get 3 instead of 1. But instead of searching for energy to attach, you're searching for grass Pokemon to put into your hand. I'm not sure if this is very good. I think it would be better if you could choose to put basic grass Pokemon onto your bench with this attack. That would probably make it viable, in my opinion. There's a bunch of cast forms. Here's cast form Sunny Form. The ability is if you have 8 or more stadium cards in your discard pile, ignore all energy in the attack cost of each of this Pokemon's attacks. And it does 150 damage, and you must discard a stadium card in order to use this attack. Cute artwork for the cast form. They all have this forecast ability where you need 8 stadiums in your discard pile. Probably just a fun gimmick. I don't think it will really do anything. We've got some bulk here with Litleo and Pyroar. And then we've got Volcanion V, 220 HP. And it has 2 attacks. The first is just vanilla, 2 energy for 50 damage. And Dynamite Tackle, 100 plus damage for 3 energy. If this Pokemon has 10 damage counters or more on it, it does 150 more damage. So it does 250 for 3 energy if it can survive a hit. And with Cape of Toughness, it can survive a hit. So maybe not too bad. I think we have better fire attackers than Volcanion V right now. We definitely have better fire attackers than Volcanion V right now, but maybe somewhere in the future this will be one of the better attackers. We've got a Scorbunny, Raboot, Cinderace single strike line. Single strike Cinderace has an ability and an attack. The ability reads this Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active for each prize card your opponent has taken. So that is a nice ability just to have tossed onto this Pokemon that is not included in an attack. And then the attack does 150 damage for 2 energy. So if your opponent's already taken 3 prize cards, you can do 240 for 2 energy with a stage 2 Pokemon. So not too bad. Stage 2 Pokemon, the problem is they take up more deck space than tag teams and VMAXs. They take more to set up, and then they don't survive on the board for as long of a time. So there's a lot of disadvantages that go into Stage 2 Pokemon in this day and age of the trading card game. But it looks like, you know, they're continuing to try to creep them up and make them a little more playable. Lapras, search your deck for 2 Melanie cards. Melanie is a supporter card that lets you accelerate a water from discard to a water Pokemon and then draw 3. Potentially water from discard to any Pokemon, so we'll have to take a look at that later and then draw 3. I think Melanie's a good card. I don't think Lapras is a good card. You don't need to do that, especially when we have a format with Marnie in it. Even post-rotation, we still have Marnie. Right now we have Marnie and a reset stamp, so these kinds of attacks are just not very enticing to me. Next we have Snowy form, cast form, water type, and it's the same thing. If you have 8 or more stadium cards in your discard pile, ignore the energy cost in the attacks, and it does 120 and can't use Frost Typhoon next turn. Like I said, just a fun gimmick. I don't expect anything to come out of those. We've got Snorunt Frostlass. Frostlass's ability is once during your turn, when you evolve this Pokemon, or when you play this card to evolve a Pokemon, you may search your discard pile for a water energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. So what's nice about this compared to Frostmoth is Frostmoth has to be from hand to a benched water Pokemon. This can be to the active to a non-water Pokemon. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head where that is like game breaking or where it's worth playing this over Frostmoth, but maybe something will come up in the future. At the very least, it's a unique ability that fills a niche if you need it to. We have a Spheal Celio Walrein line, and Walrein just does 160, discard 2 energy, and the active is now paralyzed. Always good to paralyze and do 160 damage, but it's on stage 2. So, you know, getting set up, allocating resources into a Pokemon that might not live too long. That's, you know, the general problems with stage 2s. We have Bergmite and Avalugg. Nice to see all these Pokemon that are in the Crown Tundra in Chilling Reign, so that's pretty cool. Avalugg, Frost Barrier 80, then reduces 30. Just a pretty vanilla, like, kind of card that you would find in a theme deck looking stage 1 Pokemon. We have Ice Rider, Calyrex V, and VMAX, which we've already reviewed both of the Calyrex VMAXs on this channel. Just a quick glance. Ice Rider Calyrex V, the Water Calyrex, 210 HP, and for 2 water and a colorless, it does 200 damage and discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, so not a bad attack at all on the V. And then the VMAX has 320 HP, very nice art on both of them, and has 2 attacks. Emperor Ride does 10 plus 30 more for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon for 2 colorless, so maxing out at 160 damage for 2 energy, pretty nice. And Max Lance for Water does 10 plus damage. You may discard up to 2 energy cards from this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 120 more damage for each energy card discarded in this way. So you can do a max of 250 with that. What's pretty cool about Emperor Ride is you could actually play this in a non-water deck. You could play this in, like, let's say a fire deck and hit water weakness if your opponent has a full bench for 320 damage. So just something to keep in mind. Galarian Rapidash V, 210 HP, basic V Pokemon. It has 2 attacks. The first is Libra Horn. Put damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon until it has 100 HP remaining. That is quite interesting. That is really quite interesting. Like, imagine this in, like, a Dragapult deck like let's say your Dragapult gets knocked out, an energy gets XP shared to this, and then you attach and then put something down to 100 HP. Next, this gets knocked out, energy goes to your Dragapult with XP share, you attach and then clean up whatever had only 100 HP left and spread to something else, or clean up a different knockout. That's an interesting attack. I definitely really like it. It's, you know, even if it's not played, at least it has some sort of, like, you know, it has some sort of oomph to it. And then Psychokinesis, 60 plus 30 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's pretty nice. Let's say your opponent's a beefy attacker, 4 energy, so this would do 180 for 2 energy. I think it fills its role. You're not going to want to use this against Pokemon that only take a couple energy to attack, but if they take like 3 or 4, you know, max their damage out with multiple energy, then Psychokinesis could actually be pretty good. So Galarian Rapidash V, a surprisingly pretty decent card. And I'm hoping this isn't the same Galarian Rapidash V that was already out in a tin, and I just didn't realize that that card had some potential, but I don't think this is the same. I'm like 95% sure that this is not the same Galarian Rapidash that was already in a tin, but I'm going to check that after I record this video, and I guess we'll all find out if I was right or wrong about that. Let's see, we got Galarian Slowpoke, Galarian Slowpoke, Drowsy, Hypno, All Bulk, Ralts. Okay, I already know that the Ralts line is pretty decent. So we got Ralts, you know, just chilling the flowers, minding his own business. Confuse Ray, nothing special. We got Curlia with Mirage Step, which is like water duplicates from Frogadier back in the Frogaday. Mirage Step for a Psychic Energy. Search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon named Curlia and put them onto your bench. What is this? Stage 2 support. Gosh golly. Okay, so we can put 3 Curlias onto our bench. That's pretty good. Curlia evolves into Gardevoir, which looks beautiful and has an ability plus an attack. Ability Arcana Shine. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose any number of basic energy you find there and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, and just draw the other cards. Kinda busted. I kind of like it. Actually, I really like it. And then Brainwave does 60 plus 30 for more for each Psychic Energy attached. So you could just play like a Gardevoir Gallade deck. And I'm going to scroll down to the Gallade real quick and we'll go back up. Gallade actually pairs super nicely because it uses a Psychic Energy for the first attack. Just like Gardevoir is, you know, Gardevoir wants to be using Psychic Energy to attack. Then it has Dynablade for colorless, 60 damage times the number of your opponent's Pokemon V in play. That's pretty good. You know, Crobat, Eldegoss, let's say it's like early mid-game. Your opponent has a Crobat, what are they playing? Urshifu. So they have a Crobat, double Urshifu. You're swinging 180 for 2 energy. That's pretty good. Like most V-Max centric decks are going to have like Crobat plus a V-Max plus a V, something like that, typically in play. Especially, I'm kind of looking towards post-rotation. There's no Dedenne, so Crobat's going to be played down much more frequently. I like this. This is great. So Gardevoir and Gallade, some potential there, especially mostly due to Mirage Step. You want to go turn 1, like attach pass, turn 2, attach to Curlia, Mirage Step out 3 more Curlias, bada bing, bada boom. Let's see, we have Shuppet Bennett. This Bennett is actually pretty decent, I think. I saw something on Twitter. So 80 HP, single strike, and Spiteful Resolve, 20 damage. Put up to 20 times damage, put up to 7 damage counters on this Pokemon, and does 20 damage for each damage counter you place in this way. Okay, so it's like Frostlass from Unbroken Bonds or Unified Minds. Put 7 damage counters on this, leave it with 10 HP, and you swing 140 at the defending Pokemon. Typically going to be good if you are hitting for weakness. And the Emboar that makes your attacks do 30 more could make this do 170 instead of 140. So you're one-shotting both Urshifu V-Maxes. Pretty nice. Hippotopotiptis bulk, but I appreciate Pokebeach for listing it by its proper pronunciation phonetically. We've got Hippopowdon, also bulk, and the Gallade we just looked at, Rockruff and Lycanroc Single Strike. So Rockruff's Lycanroc Single Strike does 80 damage plus 10 for each Single Strike Pokemon in your discard pile. I don't necessarily love this, but let's venture to say you have, I don't know, 6 Single Strike Pokemon in your discard pile. 8 Single Strike Pokemon in your discard pile. So that's 160, and you have 2 Single Strike Energy attached. That's 200 for 2. That seems decent, but it depends on what that deck would have to look like to get multiple Single Strike Pokemon into the discard pile. So I think it's decent, and I think they're working more towards a Single Strike box being possible. Like a Rapidstrike box will be possible with matchless fighters. So it's decent. Like, it has some sort of hope. It's not complete bulk. We've got Sandaconda V, a new Sandaconda V. This one takes 30 less damage from attacks and does Land Crush, 3 energy, 140, pretty vanilla. Sandaconda VMAX, however, is pretty cool. So Sandaconda VMAX has 320 HP, fighting type, and has 2 attacks. Sand Pulse does 60 damage, and then this attack also does 20 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. And Gmax Cyclone 180 and move any number of energy from your Pokemon to your other Pokemon in any way you like. Both of these attacks pair really well with Cheryl. You could just build a deck where you want to Sand Pulse every turn, or like most turns, while you're building up maybe another Sandaconda on the bench, or you're accelerating energy in some way, and you go like attach, Sand Pulse 60, 20, 20, 20, 20, get hit, Cheryl, Sand Pulse 60-20 everywhere, Cheryl, Sand Pulse 60-20 everywhere. But also it pairs with Cheryl well because you can do 180, move all the energy off to another Sandaconda, force them to either hit this or boss the benched one. Then Cheryl, the one that got hit, switch into the new Sandaconda, you know, something like that. So, and fighting type has just been decent for such a long time. I look at fighting type and kind of just see natural potential. So I enjoy the design of the Sandaconda VMAX. Not too bad. Galarian Slowking. Once during your turn, you may choose one of your Pokemon, flip a coin. If heads, restore 90 HP to that Pokemon. If tails, place 3 damage counters on that Pokemon. Not a huge fan. Maybe you could do something cute with it, but it seems pretty uneventful in this. Like 90 HP is not that eventful, because like a VMAX has 320 HP on average, and they're getting hit for like 200 at a time. So like healing 90, maybe you help, maybe you can help, but it's also going to be, you know, you have to set up a stage 1, and again, in this day and age, setting up multiple evolved Pokemon is typically not the way to go. Quillfish, basic Pokemon. If this Pokemon is your active and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, puts 6 damage counters on the defending Pokemon, and it is a Single Strike Pokemon. I've seen better. It has to be knocked out. It does only have 90 HP, so it typically is going to be knocked out by attacks, but just seems like a gimmick, so I'm not thinking too much of that. Liepard V has the ability, once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to bench, you may discard 1 Pokemon tool card attached to any Pokemon in play, yours or your opponent's. It's cool. It's another tool for Eternatus. I'm not sure we needed this. I would have loved to see it on a non-V Pokemon, and maybe even a non-dark, non-V Pokemon. But it's nothing crazy. We've got an Aggron with Guard Press 100 reduced by 30, and then Ground Split 240 and does 30 damage to each of your Pokemon. Stage 2 Pokemon probably isn't going to do much. Tauros, Single Strike Tauros. There are a lot of cards in these sets. Tauros Single Strike has Raging Bull 20 plus 20 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, and it's now confused. So it has 130 HP. Let's say we have double Single Strike energy on it, and we also have 4 damage counters on it from attaching the double Single Strike energy. So we do 20, 40, 60 for the energy, 80, 100 for the damage. And does not seem impressive right off the bat there. Okay. Porygon Z. Once during your turn, when you attach an energy from your hand to this Pokemon, you may leave the opponent's active Pokemon confused. Not good at all. That is not good. Bulk. We've got Tornadus V and Tornadus V Max. Tornadus V we've looked at on this channel before, has pretty vanilla attacks, and then Tornadus V Max 320 HP, weak to lightning, resistant to fighting. For 2 colorless, it does 60. And then for 4 colorless, it does 120. If there's a stadium card in play, it does 120 more than discard that stadium. We have powerful colorless energy, which could be something with this card, but it's pretty meh. It definitely seems like an underwhelming VMAX. I also should note it is a single strike VMAX, so it could be put in a single strike deck for like type coverage to resist fighting, or just have something that's weak to something different, since it is a colorless Pokemon. So when you have colorless Pokemon, just keep them in mind a little bit more. So it does seem pretty average, but maybe it being colorless could let it see play in something that allows you to accelerate energy enough to use Max Fujin. Furfru, just bulk. Okay, then we've got some trainers. Survival kit. Look at the bottom 3 cards from your deck and place them on top of your deck in any order. At a glance, this looks like they were trying to help people counter Marnie, but adding this card into our deck that doesn't even draw us cards, like, no. I don't like it. That just seems like a waste of deck space. Imposing Helmet. It's a tool card. When the Pokemon this card is attached to is your active and is damaged by an opponent's attack, choose an energy attached to the attacking Pokemon and return it to your opponent's hand. I like this. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's quite good. That is quite good, because you can put this on like an Inteleon VMAX. Your opponent hits you, you remove an energy, then you Cheryl that damage, and then Hydro Snipe. I think it's Hydro Snipe. The first attack on Inteleon VMAX, 60 return and energy. So Imposing Helmet sounds ridiculous on Inteleon VMAX. I really like that. I feel like a lot of my ideas are like Cheryl based, and I think that's just because Cheryl slows the game down and makes the game more interesting than it's been. So I really do like Cheryl, but this card seems like it would go great in a VMAX Cheryl deck. The single strike Scroll of Stab. I am so happy to see them doing more single strike and rapid strike scrolls, and also single strike and rapid strike special energies. I'm so happy that wasn't a one and done thing, because I love these technical machine type tools where the Pokemon gain an attack based on the trainer card attached to them. So single strike Scroll of Stab is a tool card, and it can only be attached to single strike Pokemon, or only single strike Pokemon can use it. And it has the attack on it, Overreach, for fire, colorless, 120 damage, and it goes through all effects. It is not affected by weakness or resistance, and it goes through all effects on the defending Pokemon. So for fire, colorless, 120 damage, and your single strike Pokemon has a shred attack that goes through everything. We've got some gloves. These are pretty interesting. Fireproof gloves. When the Pokemon this card is attached to attacks, damage done to your opponent's fire Pokemon is increased by plus 30. Pretty interesting. And then we've got Break Gloves. The Pokemon this card is attached to does 30 more damage to your opponent's active metal Pokemon. Very cool looking card. And doing more damage to metal Pokemon is a help against Zacian decks. We've got Flannery, a single strike supporter. Choose a special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon and any stadium card in play and discard them. I think this is cool because Rapidstrike got Fan of Waves, so now Single Strike is getting Flannery, so they both get some of that little disruption support. So that's really cool, and I believe Single Strike's the one that got its own Versus Seeker. Yes, it is. So you can kind of chain this a little bit. Doctor. Huh. It's just called Doctor? That's weird. Draw 2 cards. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon VMAX, draw 2 more cards. That's not very good at all. Maybe some people might think it's good, but it's just not, because you need your opponent to have something in their deck and have it out for you to draw cards. And if not, this is just a draw 2, which is horrible. Peony is a supporter. Discard your hand, search your deck for any 2 trainer cards, and put them into your hand. This is pretty good. I like this. It pairs well with Cricketune. It also pairs well with Rose Tower. Hint, hint, Peony's like Rose's cousin or brother or something like that. So Peony, this should see play for sure. Melanie, supporter, attach a water energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon V, then draw 3 cards. So it's water energy to a Pokemon V, active or bench, that includes VMAX, and then draw 3 cards. It's a nice moderate energy excel with a bit of draw. You could say it's better or worse than Welder. It gets less energy, but the energy also doesn't have to be in your hand. So I think this is a very, very good supporter card. Path to the Peak is a stadium card. Each player's Pokemon in play with a rule box has no abilities. I believe we've already reviewed this on the channel, but I think this card is going to be incredibly strong and relevant for a very long time because it shuts off all rule box abilities. So this is a very, very powerful card. And finally, we have Impact Energy. Impact Energy can only be attached to a single strike Pokemon. It counts as a rainbow energy for that Pokemon, and it prevents that single strike Pokemon from being poisoned. Very cool looking card. It's basically an extra Aurora energy only for single strike Pokemon. And on to the second half, which is Jet Black Spirit translations. We've got some bulk starting us out, and then a new Celebi and Celebi VMAX. Celebi V has the Lou Leaf Dance? I feel like that should be Dew. It's probably Dew Leaf Dance. We'll say Dew. For a grass energy, attach any number of grass energy from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. That's pretty good. Like, if you can get, like, 2-3 grass energy in your hand, turn 1 going second, that's a lot of tempo you're gaining there. And then slash back 60 and switch, nothing too crazy. And then Celebi VMAX, which looks awesome, has the ability Healing Forest. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from each of your grass Pokemon. And then Max Plant 130, search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon and put them into your hand. So this is similar to Togekiss VMAX in the way where it's not doing too much damage, but it gives you a lot of options for next turn. It also has healing built in, which is something Togekiss doesn't have. Something they both have is a weakness to Marnie, because after you search out those cards, you might just get them sent right to the bottom of your deck. This is an interesting card, and in a game where all cards were designed like this and not dealing massive amounts of damage, then this might be a little better. But I do like the design. Unfortunately, I don't think it will be very great. We've got Rapidstrike, Grookey, Thwackey, and Rillaboom. And Rillaboom is I just said Rapidstrike. Rillaboom is a grass 180 HP stage 2 Pokemon. The first attack, Wood Drain, is nothing special, and then Surging Beat for Grass Colorless does 120 plus damage. You may discard any number of energy cards attached to your Pokemon in play, and it does 30 more damage for each card you discarded. So even if you just discard the 3 attached here, you would do 210, which on a stage 2, I sound like a broken record, but on a stage 2 is just not worth it most of the time. Actually, okay, I take that back. This could just, I was looking at this as a Rapidstrike card. This could just be tossed into a Rillaboom deck, like a Sword and Shield Rillaboom that accelerates energy. You could just toss this in as a secondary attacker potentially, and maybe it's okay there. Otherwise, I don't think it's very good. Psyduck, Golduck, Sneasel, Weavile. Weavile Rapidstrike is interesting. 2-hit KO for colorless. If the defending Pokemon takes damage from one of your Rapidstrike Pokemon next turn, it is knocked out. That's really interesting, but with Switch and Escape Rope and Air Balloon and Bird Keeper, I wouldn't count on 2-hit KO ever sticking, because if your opponent switches, then that effect is just gone. Which, for this card to ever be playable, that effect would have to be protected through switching and whatnot. So Weavile not going to be a good card. We've got Cast Form, Rainy Form. 8 stadium cards in the discard, ignore all energy cost, and then its attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Again, Cast Form is just a gimmick. Love Disc, Bulk, Temple, Bulk, Tapu Fini. Bulk. Arctovish V. Primordial Freeze. 80 damage for 3 energy, and if the defending is a V or GX, it cannot attack next turn. Interesting, but it gets canceled out by Switch and Escape Rope and Bird Keeper and Air Balloon Free Switch and evolving the V into a VMAX and all of that good stuff. So probably a very bad card. Mareep Flaffy Ampharos has potential to do 180 for 2 energy, but it's just potential. And it's a stage 2 Pokemon, so we'll just go right past that. Rapidstrike Zebstrika. Link Bolt 30 plus. If any of your Rapidstrike Pokemon used an attack last turn, this does 90 more. So 120 for 1 energy, not selling me. And then Spark Rush is on a coin flip until tails, so that's bulk. Emolga is 30 and Paralyze on a coin flip. Zeraora V, very good Pokemon card. 210 HP, basic Pokemon with Rapid Strike tag, and it has a 1 attack, Cross Fist. Lightning colorless, to do 100 damage, just 100 damage, that's it. But if any of your other Rapid Strike Pokemon use an attack last turn, it also does 160 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So for 3 energy, it does 100 and then 160, which is pretty crazy. And think about post-rotation with no bench barrier Mew in the game. That sounds nuts. Ghastly Haunter Gengar. Gengar has the ability Dying Gift. When this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, you may search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. Now, I like that they need to stage 2 proof these stage 2 Pokemon if they ever want us to be able to play these evolution Pokemon in a VMAX and GX world. Because what Dying Gift does is it allows you to just grab a Candy and a Gengar to reestablish the next turn's Candy Gengar, and then you have another stage 2 attacker to attack with, and then it has the attack Pain Burst for 3 colorless, which, you know, we have to also get the amount of energy we need to attack. Maybe Gardevoir can help us with that. If it's, what kind of world are we living in where we're setting up 2 stage 2s? Anyway, Pain Burst 10 plus damage. This attack does 40 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active. I'd like to say that this is playable. I can't. But what I will say is that Dying Gift is the kind of thing that more evolution Pokemon need. Maybe even Haunter could have used this. Heck, give it to Ghastly too. Give it to the whole line, and this probably still wouldn't see play. But it would at least be a lot closer to seeing play. Sableye with Search for a Trainer card and Corner 40 Can't Retreat. Corner Can't Retreat is only good if you're not doing damage anyway for the potential to lock something in the active. If you're doing 40 damage every time you say it can't retreat, then it's going to get knocked out eventually. So that's only ever good if you can lock it and try to control your opponent. Cresselia, we've looked at already. It's just basically Volcanion from Unbroken Bonds. Crescent Growth. For a Psychic, search your deck for a Psychic Energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. If you are going second on your first turn, you may attach up to 3 Psychic Energy to one of your Pokemon instead. And then Photon Laser does Psychic, for Psychic does 30, plus 90 more if you have 5 or more energy in play. So a very, very good Psychic starter Pokemon for Psychic-based decks. Golurk, Bulk, Malamar. Malamar is... it's like a fun card. Not competitive. For 1 Psychic, it does 40 times the amount of Rapid Strike cards from your hand that you reveal. So if you reveal like 8 Rapid Strike cards, you'll do 320 damage. But that means you have to have 8 cards in your hand, and they all had to be Rapid Strike cards. And then you shuffle them into your deck. So then you would have to find 8 more to do 320 again next turn. So I would put money on it that this card is not good. Beautyfly and Ribombee. Ribombee's pretty interesting. It has some control element to it. Trick Step for a colorless 30, and then move an energy attached to the active to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This could also go well with that helmet we saw earlier, that when it's hit by damage, you return an energy attached to the attacking Pokemon. So you could see some cute things with that, maybe. Shadow Rider Calyrex. Shadow Rider Calyrex V we've looked at before, but they really pumped up this basic V card. Shadow Mist 10, and your opponent can't play Special Energy or Stadium cards next turn. And then Astral Barrage, put 5 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Then Shadow Calyrex V has the ability, once during your turn, you may attach a Psychic Energy from your hand to one of your benched Psychic Pokemon, then draw 2 cards. And Max Geist for triple colorless does 10 plus 30 more for each Psychic Energy attached to your Pokemon in play. This is weak to Dark. Let me just go check real quick what Galarian Rapidash is weak to, because if they complement each other with different weaknesses, nope, they're both weak to Dark. Okie doke, let's go back down. Galarian Rapidash is Psychic Fairy, so it should be neutral to Dark, like if in game sense, whatever. Okay, moving on. Palpitoed and Seismitoad. Seismitoad has Quaking Wave, not Quaking Punch, Quaking Wave, fighting energy to do 60, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attack costs and retreat costs are increased by colorless. Again, these effects in the environment the card game is in, these will never be good outside of like playing fun decks out of like a couple packs of cards you bought with your friends, or like playing at a pre-release. These cards will never ever have use, because like your opponent could literally just play Switch down and the effect is gone. Crab Brawler, Crabominable. We got Clobopus and Grapploct. Grapploct has an ability, Grappling Master. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is increased by 2. So this is pretty interesting, except this underwhelming Pokemon, or maybe average Pokemon, has to be active for your opponent's active's retreat cost to be +2. It does have a decent attack, which is why I say maybe it's average. Synchro Buster for fighting colorless. It does 80 damage plus 80 more if you and your opponent have the same number of cards in your hand. But that's a lot of work to do 160 on a Pokemon that needs a fighting energy and 2 colorless energy attached to it. It's not complete bulk, but I also don't think it can be played. Maybe like if you could play this deck and like do well into a meta of like fighting weak Pokemon or things that need to retreat a lot, but the fact that it needs to be active to make your opponent's active retreat costs increased, and the fact that it costs a fighting plus 2 colorless for the attack, and the attack needs this other thing met, it's just a lot of hoops to jump through. Coughing, we got Dark Coughing, Wheezing. So we have a Wheezing and a Galarian Wheezing, and they go together. So the Galarian Wheezing, the ability Energy Factory, each basic Dark attached to your Pokemon with Wheezing in the name provides double Dark energy. And then regular Wheezing does Smog Burst, 20 damage plus 20 more for each Dark energy attached to your Pokemon in play. I think this is a gimmick because it only doubles the energy attached to your Wheezing in play, not all of your Dark Pokemon. And you can only have 4 Wheezing in play because you can only have 4 Coughing in your deck. So you can't have 4 Wheezing and 4 Galarian Wheezing on the board at the same time. So I think this is just a gimmick. We've got Nuzleaf and Shiftry. The Shiftry is pretty interesting. It has the attack 10 Goodbye. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any damage counters on it, return that Pokemon and all cards attached to it to your opponent's hand. This, I really like that attack. Of course, what am I going to say? It's on a stage 2. So there's something cute you could do with it, and maybe somebody can make it work. But stage 2s are just, at such a disadvantage right now. Now I'm going to refresh the page because it looks like these cards weren't translated yet when I loaded the page, but now they are translated, so we're good to go. Metagross V. Bullet Punch 20 plus flip 2 coins, 20 more for each heads. And then Synchro Hammer. Oh, this is a Rapidstrike Pokemon, by the way. I should say that. Synchro Hammer, Metal Colorless, 60 plus damage. If this Pokemon and defending Pokemon have the same number of energy attached, it does 90 more damage. So maybe if it's like turn 2, you both have 2 energy attached. This does 150 for 2 energy. Not a bad chunk of damage. And then we have Metagross V Max Rapid Strike with Magnetic Pull. For a metal energy, search your deck for any 2 cards and put them into your hand. Very Metagross-esque attack. And then Gmax Rush. For Metal Colorless, it does 100, and during your next turn, this attack does 150 more, so it would do 100 into 250 for a total of 350. But the thing is, if your opponent gusts this Pokemon or escape ropes or things like that, then you're just back to doing 100, so this card's really, really bad. Cobalian, Bulk, Blissey V. I love this Blissey V because it reminds me of Mysterious Treasure's Blissey V. So first, it has 250 HP. That's a big chunk of chunk. So add Toughness Cape to this, 300 HP. Let's go. Ability Natural Cure. Whenever you attach an energy from your hand to this Pokemon, remove all special conditions from this Pokemon. And just reading this attack takes me back to Mysterious Treasures, where Colorless Blissey Bomber does 10 damage. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. After doing damage, you may attach up to 3 energy cards from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So let's say you have 2 energy attached, you do 10 plus 60, that's 70, then you attach 3 more, then next turn you attach 1 more. So that's 2, 5, 6 energy attached. So then next turn you do 190 and even attach more, and then maybe if that Pokemon isn't knocked out yet, then you do just so much damage on the following turn. So I love the potential of Blissey V, and I love the flavor of it, reminding me of the old Blissey from Diamond and Pearl Mysterious Treasures. With that being said, I don't think it's fantastic, but I definitely think this could see play at some point in the right deck. Cast form, you know, the same thing. This is regular cast form, 8 stadium cards, ignore the energy cost. It does 80 damage, draw cards until you have 6. We have Kecleon, Rapidstrike Kecleon, mind you. The ability Colorful Change. This Pokemon is the same type as the energy attached to it. If 2 or more types of basic energy are attached, it becomes all of those types, and it does 90 damage. So, very cool. I don't know if there's any immediate uses for it, but the Colorful Change ability, allowing it to be multiple types at the same time, very cool. And it's Rapidstrike, so it can use the Rapidstrike TMs, it can use the Rapidstrike energy, things like that. We have Talonflame, Nitro Dive 80 plus. If this Pokemon has any fire energy attached, it does 80 more. Stage 2 Pokemon doing 160 for 2 energy is not good enough. Squovit and Greedent. This Greedent is game-changing, folks. This is a main player, this little dude right here. Brazen Tail ability is what we're looking at. Prevent all effects of your opponent's item and supporter cards that would discard energy from your Pokemon, or return energy from your Pokemon to your hand or deck. This covers Yell Grunt, this covers Fan of Waves, and most importantly, it covers Crushing Hammer, discarding your energy. Now, I would have loved to see this on a non-rule box basic Pokemon to make it easily techable into decks and able to get down on turn 1. They gave it to us on a stage 1, which, you know, I'll take it. It's not as good, but it's something to give us counterplay to Crushing Hammers and energy removal, which, by the way, if you know me, you know that I believe Crushing Hammer inherently isn't a problem. It's just a problem in this current game design, but we can talk more about that in another video. So that's the end of all the Pokemon in these new sets. Let's get to the last chunk of trainers and then our last special energy cards. Fog Crystal is an item. Search your deck for either a basic Psychic Pokemon or Psychic Energy. Put it into your hand. Pretty nice, kind of like Mysterious Treasure-esque type card, but no discarding. Weeding Gloves lets you do 30 more damage to Grass Pokemon, and Justice Gloves lets you do 30 more damage to Dark Pokemon. We didn't really need to do more damage to Grass Pokemon currently, but doing more damage to Dark Pokemon, let's take down the King Eternatus. I'm always happy with that. Rapidstrike Scroll of Skies is the new Rapidstrike Scroll. For a lightning and colorless energy, your Rapidstrike Pokemon can use Flying Suplex, 10 plus damage, and this attack does 50 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is pretty cool. I like it a lot. It's definitely neat. It's a lot different than the other Rapidstrike Scroll, although Rapidstrike was already the stronger of the 2 battle styles. Its Rapidstrike Scroll was pretty underwhelming so far, so this one's really nice. We've got some new supporters. We got Caitlyn here. Put as many cards from your hand as you like on the bottom of your deck, and then draw a card for each card you put on the bottom of your deck. This is beautiful. Like, this is one of those cards where I'm like, Where are the people that designed this card when they let ADP and Eternatus VMAX and Zacian V, like, where was the person who designed Caitlyn when all those other cards got shipped? That's what I want to know, because this card is balanced, it's playable, it's beautiful, it's oh god, yes. Honestly, this card might not be played because research is just so darn good, but this is actually like a thought-provoking card, which we need more of. Rant over. Agatha, supporter card. Move up to 3 damage counters from your active Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. Nice seeing Agatha. Interesting ability on this supporter card, but I don't think it will see play. We've got... Oh, actually, this works with the Slowking, doesn't it? Or the Galarian Slowking. That's interesting, because if you don't heal it and you put 3 damage counters instead, you move those. That's interesting. I like that. Probably won't be good, but I like the flavor. Peony, choose up to 3 of your prize cards and put them into your hand. Then place the same number of cards from your hand face down as prize cards. So this can allow you to set specific cards down. The background looks like the World Tournament thing in Dragon Ball Super, but I know it's the Max Raid Zone. This is an interesting supporter. They're giving us supporter cards that are like playable in different niche scenarios or fill a role in your deck, or like that Greedent. It allows you to put that Greedent into your deck if you need to do something like that. So lots of good stuff here. Cybold, choose up to 2 of your Rapidstrike Pokemon in play and heal 60 from each. That's really underwhelming. We have Cheryl. I guess because you could search this out with Octillery maybe, and as attack against other Rapidstrike decks that are spreading damage, maybe this could actually be decent. So maybe this is actually decent versus Rapidstrike decks in this set or in post-rotation. We have Old Cemetery, which I do believe we've already looked at. It's a stadium card. Whenever a player attaches an energy from their hand to one of their Pokemon, excluding Psychic, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. And then we have 2 more cards. We'll look at Lucky Energy first. I think this is bad. It's a special that provides a colorless energy. And if the Pokemon it's attached to is damaged, draw a card. I don't think that's worth having that special energy. That could be like an Aurora energy or a basic energy, providing the energy cost you need. And then Spiral Energy, the new Rapidstrike special energy, which is a rainbow on Rapidstrike Pokemon. And that Rapidstrike Pokemon cannot be paralyzed and is cured from paralysis if it was paralyzed. So many new cards to take in. Quite a long review. Let me know what cards you think you like the most. What cards do you like the most? There's so much here. There's so much we could talk about. What card's going to be best post-rotation? What card's going to be best when the set comes out? Are these stage 2s like Gardevoir and Gallade actually playable? Are the designers going in a good direction with design? We have cards like that Caitlyn supporter that's more thought-provoking than something like Professor's Research, but they made Professor's Research like a reprintable card, so are we ever going to get rid of that? There's a lot to talk about here, so let me know in the comments down below. There's so much to talk about with Chilling Reign, with Jet Black Spirit and Silver Lance coming out in Japan soon, and then most of these will be in our Chilling Reign set on June 18th. So thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you were new here for daily Pokemon TCG content. Check out PotownStore.com for all of your ptcgo needs and use code CELIO for 5% off. Make sure you like and comment if you enjoyed the video and you have something to share with me about your thoughts on these new cards. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.